meeting here for September 7, 2023. And I'll start by greeting everyone. Anin Indaway Maganandag, Ningi Miigwech Wyndham, Ingawabaman Nungam. Oh, also Niji Gikanu in the way Maganandag. Waite Baga Gisis Nungam, Nijwaso Ganagizid. Oza Awana Kwatok Nindigo, Nicole Nandijnikas, Ogishiki Manisi Nandude, Miskwa Gamiwi Zagai Ganin Nandujiba. Me you, me gwich Bizandewiak. Okay, that's just a simple greeting. I just introduced myself and I just want to say hello, all my relatives and non-native relatives, and welcome here today on this 7th day of September.
And you close by saying, thank you for listening.
Yes, and I also quote that's it. Thank you for listening to
I
me.
followed everything except the Niji part. You something about you were a friend of the school or?
No, my non-native relative,
Oh,
non-native friends.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Okay, and so we'll move on to item 2, call to order. Tina, may you please?
Nicole Charlotte,
Omandia.
Fish Jordan.
Yep.
State League here, Mike Barrett,
Here.
Robert Pemberton. Doug Jeff DeCharlie. Thomas Barrett,
Here.
Tim Lutz.
Here.
All right, Miigwech, Tina, do we have any guests today? Item 2B.
No guests.
Okay, with that being said, we're moving on to item 3, summary overview of agenda, superintendent.
Miigwech, Chair DeJarle.
Mhm.
This may be the shortest special board meeting on record because we have one consent agenda item, basically. It's one motion, I should say, with 14 different items, but as a board meeting, they can all be done with one motion. So within the consent agenda, as I mentioned, we have 14 items, which include adding a 1.0 FTE special ed para position for the district, approving a resignation of Ian Lucier, approving a resignation from Linda Donnell, also from James Jordan, the retirement request from Sherry Garrigan, a motion or a part of it, which is to rescind an employment offer for a paraprofessional, as well as approving an unpaid leave of absence for Shantae Strong, a paraprofessional, and then approve hiring Tiana English as a paraprofessional, Tegan Nelmark as a paraprofessional, Noelle Zeller as a paraprofessional, Nicole Johnson as a paraprofessional, and then to approve contracting with Chris Edmond to provide due process facilitator consultant work at 20 hours a week for the district. And finally, to approve additions to the club list for the 23-24 school year. So I present these items as one motion to approve to you as the board. Thank you.
Miigwech, Superintendent Lutz. School board members, do we have a motion to approve the agenda for September 7, 2023?
I will move to approve.
Miigwech, Chris, do we have a second?
Second.
Miigwech, Tom. Before we take a vote, do we have any discussions on the agenda?
Tim or anybody, could you talk a little bit about the due process facilitator consultant work?
Yeah, we had somebody on board this past year. Due process is an extremely tedious and time-consuming piece of work. It involves making sure all of our students who are on IEPs take care of or get their paperwork taken care of, that their IEPs get reviewed every year, that they are updated every year, and that everything is reported properly to the Department of Education every year. And it's often a process that takes so long in school districts that when there isn't a coordinator, the teachers often have to get together and spend an extra evening and get paid for it, or spend an extra day that's simply called a due process day. But we're asking for someone who can come in and replace the person we had before so that that work can continue and so that that coordinator can make sure that IEPs remain current and serve our students on those IEPs as well as we can. It's a routine replacement of the previous school year.
Who was,
I'm gapping out, trying to remember. There, yeah, Mrs. Ferris, Christine, yeah.
and she was full-time.
She was full-time, but I believe she did some other things as well, but this would just be basically a part-time to fill in the due process part of what she used to do.
Okay, Meekwich for that. We'll take a vote. All those in favor?
I had a question on the clubs.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
It doesn't say, I was just curious who's doing what. You have that info?
Oh, those four, yeah, I was looking at that. Who's the fitness club?
Oh, actually, many of those are not yet filled.
They're
Yes,
just
officially.
opening.
Yep, we're opening and then we'll post for that.
Okay,
Is that the case with the original list of clubs too?
Yep, yep,
Like clubs that still need like teachers or somebody to kind of,
exactly.
Okay.
Open them up to, in a lot of years, the same people reapply. But if we have others apply, then it's up for grabs.
And then who comes up with them? See, I was curious about that hunting and fishing one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started asking around and nobody, they were, no, I'm not doing that.
That would have been somebody who,
showed interest.
requested and showed interest, yeah. I wasn't in the loop on that. It was something that probably was sent to Ashley. Yeah, we put it on the agenda, so. But, I did hear about it and I was happy that that was there because that's definitely part of the culture, so it'd be nice to see that get,
I'm gonna hang in.
yeah.
is there some kind of a survey done for the students?
Yeah.
For like, you know, what kind of club they'd like to see?
Yep, we did that last year and we saw, in particular, we looked at doing a survey to make sure we were covering all of the cultural pieces as well. And that was done, I want to say sometime around January or February of last year. And Dr. Gnu was a part of that too, so leading that survey. It's always good to know what the kids are interested in doing, and as we see certain things maybe not being very popular, then we take a look at it and we drop this. And do something different.
Other clubs could just, you know, be added throughout the year, right? It's not something we gotta do necessarily
Right.
right away.
We generally try to do as much at the beginning of the year, but if we miss one or something comes up that we haven't thought about, we can add that. Yep.
Anything else? Mike, you got anything?
Who makes these requests for the clubs then?
Sometimes the principals
right.
do, sometimes teachers, sometimes the people who want to do that, yeah.
Like what's
Sometimes
a
it's-
racket club? Is that like racquetball or?
I think that's what it is, yeah. We'll see what kind of interest we get. We're starting a new drone racing club, which will be exciting, you know, so we have things across the spectrum, those that are very traditional, and then we have esports, which is now a sport, no longer a club, and then the drone racing club, so. I like the idea of making sure that our kids get the benefit of anything that's out there that they're interested in.
Thank you for that. Anything else? Okay, we'll take the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Mike?
Yeah.
Aye. 5-4-0 against. We'll move on to item 5, public comments and delegations. Do we have anybody today?
That's what I know of.
Hey. We're gonna move on to item 6, consent agenda for September 7, 2023. May we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Meekwich Tom. Do we have a second?
I'll say it.
Meekwich Chris. No discussion?
We pretty much had it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, with that being said, we'll take a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Okay, 5-4-0 against. All right, we're gonna move on to item 7, closed session.
Yeah.
Howie and Gagel. Item 8, action items.
Shouldn't be any today, because it's all
Okay.
part of consent.
And item 9, miscellaneous.
I wanted to bring up, something that a couple of staff and some parents brought up, but the, heating or slash air conditioning issue at the elementary or the ECC building. I don't know if you guys, like, this is on your radar, but, I guess it seems to be pretty hot in there.
Yeah. Hopefully, things will get better now that things have cooled off, but every single year, maybe we should explore starting a week later or something with climate change. But every single year, we get that in the fall. And of course, if we push it back, we might, push the heat into springtime. Get it there. We did a study. Chris had emailed me this morning and said, what would it take to put air conditioning across the district? And, I checked with Willie because he had told me about a study that this district had done a few years ago. And a few years ago, it came back at $20 million to air conditioning the entire district. So by now, it's probably 25 million. Crazy amount. So schools across the country are dealing with this. What makes it difficult is we could spend that money, but we'd be not using air conditioning that we spent $25 million on, 48 or 50 weeks out of the year. And we only need it for a couple of weeks. And when we do need it, it's difficult when we hear about it. But,
What about when we rented it that time, or you were on the board, you guys rented it, do you remember what that price tag was?
It's pretty expensive too. I think when they set up all those things all over,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty expensive too.
my hope is today I noticed it's a bit cooler in this building than it was yesterday, which was cooler yesterday than the day before.
Then at elementary, there's just kind of pockets,
Yeah,
some spots seem to have it,
Worse than the others.
and then like some of the older spots.
You just roast.
maybe
Yeah,
we
like
can-
that second grade, the wolf.
Maybe we can look into taking a look at a few isolated spots and doing some remediation. I'll talk to Willie and Chris Ward about exploring that.
And I think it's the same here, there's pockets of the older spots.
And the culture room,
The culture.
where we're at right now with the kids,
Mhm.
yeah.
Could we extend, this idea to the principal or some representative at the ECC in elementary? That's where I got
Yeah,
the
Definitely.
the concerns from. I wouldn't know what the secondary complex, AC condition is like. When I'm here, it seems, I guess,
Yeah,
fine in the parts I'm in at least, but, yeah, the concerns I got were from multiple parents and staff over at ECC.
okay.
Something we could let them know, like, give us like an idea of where it's like worse than other spots, and maybe we could consider, plan B.
Mhm.
We're not necessarily air condition the whole district, but maybe we could have just other options
Something
to,
added to a wing or portable something added to a
Portable
wing,
AC.
or just moving the kids for a week. Part of the building is not as stuff if we have room. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, it comes up every year.
yeah.
Yeah.
For all the time, huh? It comes.
I went and bought one of those little square Arctic
Mhm.
ones, and you gotta put ice in there, and then water, and then you plug it in, and I kept my downstairs pretty good all day, but I went through about 5 pounds of ice for 2 of them. But I kept one in where I sit in the TV room. Then we got our dog in that bedroom, and that cooled it off for that dog pretty good. And that was like $30 for that.
Hmm.
But I got it on sale for 15. It was in the winter, so I bought 2 of that winter.
Yeah.
That worked for a while, but it was the ice thing. You gotta buy 5 pounds of ice
Right.
for 2 of them a day.
I know it's hot here too, because my boy is telling me it's hot.
Today he came by and said, it's all good, man. Yeah.
Or those stand-up air conditioners too, where you
Mhm.
put that thing out the window and it cools off a bigger room than this.
You, be nice to check it out. Some
Yep,
options.
we can do that.
With the amount of work to lead to some possible options, it'll probably be something we could at least have a plan for next school year.
Yep, if we
Just
start
by
now.
the time we get something rolling with this, I'm sure it'll start cooling off and feeling better, but
We start now, yep.
Okay, make which for that, Tom. With that being said, can we take a motion to adjourn? Meek Rich, Tina, do we have a second?
second,
All those in favor, please say aye.
I,
Aye, 4, no against at 2:17. Is that what you got? 2:16.
Good meeting.